Atha chainam nitya jatam nityam va manyase mritam tatapi tvam mahabaho nainam sochitum arhasi. If, however, you think that the soul, all the symptoms of life, is always born and dies forever, you still have no reason to lament, oh mighty arm. So he's now, so some people don't accept soul. There are people like that. So he said, okay, let's take for example, you don't accept their soul. Of course Arjuna accepts that, but there are people who won't. So he says, then let's talk about that. Okay? There's many people who don't accept their souls. Because even at that time, during Krishna's time, there were people who had such philosophies. Even during Krishna's time. So don't be surprised that nowadays there's more religion than previously. Even during that time, people had such understanding, or they felt that was the right way. So many kinds of philosophies are floating during the course of the history of mankind. But you find there are more religious nonsense going on now than in previous ages because of the structured existence. Previously, Varnashram Dharma, now there's no more structure, nothing. People, you can do whatever you want. And those people in previous ages who want to create their own religion, they take birth now. So they can start their own religious group. Right? So you have all kinds of people, right? Amma, this group, that group, TM, so many different people. But they have no proper knowledge about philosophies, what Krishna is talking about. All this can only exist in Kali Yuga. If all these people were propagating such philosophies in previous Yuga, ciao. The Kshatriyas will stop them from making noise. That's why you see, in those days, the only problem is by atheists fighting the demons, that's about it. Now there's problems everywhere. Every single thing is an issue. Everyone is correct. Right? Since 1960, the philosophy is, I'm okay, you are okay. Leave me alone. I'll do what I want. This is the philosophy that they tend to propagate. But look where it's got us now, society-wise. So much problems. So, philosophies that are like this, Srila Prabhupada says, Buddhism is one of them. Because they do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. Why? Because their philosophy is what? Zero. We don't exist. So if we never existed, how did we come about? So their whole philosophy is to become nothing. So if you are nothing, we always tell them, if you are nothing, then why are you talking? Yeah, don't talk, you are nothing. Whatever you say is meaningless because it's nothing. That's their logic. Actually, Buddhism is based on only logic. When you talk to them, you see, it's all based on logic. They follow some karma, all those things, reactions and so on, to stop. Their main thing is to stop reactions, stop everything, finally stop existence. Close your eyes, no more. So such personalities, when they truly, sincerely they follow, they actually take birth in the Garbhodaka ocean, in the bottom of the Garbhodaka ocean, with their face in the mud. Or they may be forced to take birth in, as I said earlier, stones and things like that. Because they have no personality. Because they deny personality. So these are some indications from the scriptures that this is what will happen to such people. But these kinds of philosophies are all existing. And then the other one Prabhupada explains is Loka Yatikas and Vaibhashikas. They say the life symptoms take place at a certain mature condition of material combination. Just like there's a lot of argument, people say, right? The scientists say, when is it at the time of conception, or is it before, or when is the embryo? Certain weeks, then it is conscious. That's when the soul is. It's not like that. But from our scripture, the soul is carried by the sperm. As soon as it combines with the egg, that's it. The life is started. Okay? It's not that after so many weeks, then only there's life. No, life is already there in the semen. As soon as it combines with the egg, the body starts forming immediately. You have to understand that. So these people, there are so many people who make their own concoction. Like the modern scientists, they think life is coming from chemicals. Yeah. Modern scientists say our whole body is chemical, so our state of mind is a chemical combination. Sometimes the chemicals are right, the dopamine and all makes us happy, this and that. They talk like that. So we give them chemicals and say, okay, you make life. They cannot make a single fly also they cannot make. Or a blade of grass also they can't make. So, all kinds of philosophies they talk about. Or another school is the school of anthropology, right? Anthropologists. They say we came from some monkey or something. Oh, recently they changed it. They say we came from a rat. Yeah. Earlier this year, there was a scientist who did his research, and he said, actually, our earliest ancestors are rat. And I'm like, okay, yeah. So basically, yeah, okay, you maybe your ancestors are rat, but I know mine isn't. So this is what people are talking. With what proof they have? They have no proof. They take some bones, like a dog in the ground, and then they study the bone. To some extent, yeah, they are kind of experts, but they really don't understand it. And then they tell you how the dinosaurs look like. How do you know from bones what color it was? All these are speculation. So much speculation going on. Okay. So how does this verse help Arjuna to overcome lamentation and material compassion? So main thing is Krishna says, okay, if you don't want to accept the soul, then let's talk about chemicals. So if it's only a loss of chemicals from the body, so why are you crying? It's only chemicals. And if there's no rebirth, then why are you worried about simple reaction? He's not going to take birth again, so don't worry about it. So this is text 27. Jatasya mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmāna parihārye āte nātam sojito marhasi. Translation: one who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of their duty, you should not lament. So basically, we take birth according to our previous activities and our past lives. And then when we die, after we finish this term, we will again have to take birth each time. This is a natural cycle within this material world. It's a fixed cycle. We can't deny but that's how it is. The only way we can stop is when we take to transcendental activities. As long as we are doing mundane activities, we are trapped within this universe. So this universe determines all mundane activities, personal desire. But as soon as it's transcendental, then the cause and effect that binds us cannot hold us when you do it for the Supreme Lord. So that's the difference. So particularly what Krishna is saying is there's no reason for him to fear death of the relatives, because that is the duty of the Kshatriya. He is supposed to execute his duty, and then he cannot say, because they are my relative, I can't kill them, so that doesn't apply. And also, he should fear sinful reactions because it is the will of the Supreme. So Krishna is again making the point that death generates no loss in the natural cause of events. There is no loss. So one shouldn't be so attached to the body or the bodily concept of life because that's illusory. So he's making that very clear to Arjuna. So he's thinking, from Arjuna's perspective, he's thinking, if we stop the Kauravas' death by not fighting, then he's wrong actually. That's not the correct reason, because in any case, birth is going to be there, death is going to be there. So he cannot claim to say, I am stopping their death, because they're still going to die. Right? So it's pointless for him to argue based on the fact that, I don't want to kill them, because they are still going to die, whether he does it or in due course of time they will die. The reason he has to do it is because Krishna wills it, and that's the duty he has to perform to protect Dharma. So that's to text 28.
As you say, clearly the death does not cause any loss. Like in India, we see that one person is there are so many people depend on one person. If he dies, another people are in fact affected. So how this?
Well, he's saying about in the case of for Bhishma himself, there's no loss. In the case of Drona, there's no loss because they are still going to die anyway. So to do your duty, it's not any loss there. You're thinking if you do your duty, you're going to kill them unnecessarily, but they're still going to die. That's his argument. If you don't believe in the soul, they're still going to die. But if you believe in the soul, then they will still take birth.
What happens to people who are dependent on that?
Well, Krishna is not talking about that in the moment. The moment he's defeating his worry that I'm going to kill Krishna. You see, it's good to kill him because his old body is going to get a new body. Which would you prefer? It's a younger body, you don't mind, right? In fact, he says Krishna won't mind, so kill him. That's the argument Krishna is saying. But if people depend on him, it still doesn't matter. There's a lot of people who are murderers and their family depend on them. So if the court says he is executed, the court cannot say, their family, so we won't kill him. It doesn't work like that. So the Dharma has a certain level, principles, you have to follow. Text 28. Avyaktadini bhutani Vyakta madhyani bharata Avyakta nidanani eva Tatraka paridevana. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Again, its focus is still the same, saying that death generates no loss. The emphasis is that it doesn't matter what philosophy you believe in, because there's no loss irrespective of whether you think it's chemical or whether you think it's karma. All this situation, Krishna says, really doesn't matter because the person is going to die anyway. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of the soul and the other not believing in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of soul are called atheists by followers of the Vedic wisdom. Yet, even if for argument's sake we accept this atheistic theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. Therefore, why you worry? From this subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation. Just as from ether, air is generated, from air, fire is generated, from fire, water is generated, from water, earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations take place. Take for example, a big skyscraper manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested, remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. So the same thing, we mine, we use some minerals, steel and iron. So when they break, they again take all those, reclaim all those things, they boil it, they burn it down and still use the steel. So Krishna said, therefore, why are you so worried about this, whether you believe in the soul or you don't believe? If you believe in the soul will take another birth. If you don't believe in the soul, then why are you worried about these chemicals? So that's what he's saying. Okay, so it's the same principles from the beginning. It's just that Krishna is making it in a different viewpoint. The first viewpoint is people accept certain philosophies, then he is arguing on that. Now let's say you don't accept philosophies or anything, but you accept only chemical manifestation, then he is also arguing in that sense. So why this is important is because his point is, before the person took birth, he didn't have the body. So that's his argument. He didn't. This material body was previously unmanifested. Now, for some time, the body is manifesting, and then in the future, it will again become unmanifested when you die. So ultimately, the body becomes destroyed anyway. So what is the use of you crying for the body which is going to go anyway? So that is his emphasis. It's going to go. Why are you crying for that? You're going to cry anyway. So if you understand that principle, that it's going to get destroyed. Previously, Bhishma didn't exist in that body. Then he's existing now in that body. In the future, he's going to give up the body. So why are you crying for that which is going to go anyway? So it's another logical way of seeing why we need to lament or we shouldn't be lamenting. So,
but we don't see the person like that we are used to see, right? That's
based on attachments, emotions. But when you break it down like what Krishna is doing, chemical and this, then there's no emotional attachment anymore. So then you can realize it's pointless lamenting anyway. That's his trust in the whole matter.
But Arjuna, you have said with Bhishma and Drona, rest of people he is going to kill them premature, right? Because they may have lifespan extending for so many years.
Yeah, but they are all under the Kshatriya code, So in the battle, it's okay. They can fight and they kill themselves. They get to go the higher planetary system as a benefit. Yeah. So when you do it according to Dharma, then it is okay. It is acceptable. Remember we were reading previously? If it's sanctioned by authority, that's fine. But on your own, you don't. Text 29. Ascharyavat Pasyati Kaschidenam Ascharyavat Vadati Tataiva Chanja Ascharyavat Chainam Anyashinati Srutva Enam Vedana Chaiva Kaschin. This verse Ascharya means amazing. So many times Krishna says amazing. So they call this verse the amazing verse. Translation. Some look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. And some hear of him as amazing. While others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. It talks about many of us, even when we hear about the soul, we don't understand. So Ascharya means amazing, as I was saying. And Pasyati means to see. And Vadati means describes. Srinoti means hears. So the first line of this verse is Ascharya Pasyati. Some look on the soul as amazing. And then the second line, Ascharya Vadati. Some people speak about the soul as amazing. And the third line, some people hear about the soul and think of the soul as amazing. So that's what it is. So Prabhupada says, his translation is, some look on the soul as amazing, Ascharya, amazing. So it's the object of the sentence. So that's how Prabhupada translates. But the Acharya Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, he gives two more interpretation, where he says the word Ascharya Vad modifies the sentence subject and verb. And therefore each of these line in verse, in these three lines, you can see in three ways. For amazing, it changes and modifies the object or the soul to the subject and verb. So Ascharya can modify the people, the subject of the sentence. So you can say, some people who are amazing look upon the soul. So you can change the sentence. And if it modifies the verb, then the sentence will read like, some people look amazingly at the soul. So depending on how you translate the amazing, amazing, it depends also. The people who see the soul are amazing. The soul is amazing. Or the power to see the soul is amazing. Get it? So it all depends on how you translate sometimes. So you can say some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him and some hear. Those who can see is amazing. Not many people can see the soul. You have to be very advanced. But the best way to understand the soul for us is to accept the Bhagavad Gita as given by Krishna. And then we accept Krishna's teaching, we follow his teaching, then we will be able to understand what the soul is really. What is the constitutional position of soul? And you can see everyone as a spirit soul. And even then, you need the mercy of the devotees. That means the blessings of Vaishnavas and so on. And that is actually the real thing. And on our own, you cannot really get a lot of this understanding from your heart, because we are limited by our conditioning. But to break that conditioning, you need the mercy of the Vaishnavas. They can give the mercy either by freely giving it, or they can chastise you, and then you realize, oh, it's my mistake. And then you see things in a different perspective. So that's how the mercy comes. And it's important to get mercy from the advanced devotees, so that we can get out of this entanglement in this material world. Otherwise you keep going through this life the same way again and again. So we come to the last section, last text of this section, which is Jnana section, text 30. Dehi nityam avadyoyam Dehe sarvasya bharata Tasmat sarvani bhutani Natam sochitum arhasi. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Okay? He's concluding it. This is the concluding statement for understanding that you're not the body. So he's just making it. So you don't cry. So therefore, with this conclusion, we can say we understand that the living entity is a immutable spirit soul. Okay? And the soul is immortal, eternal, but the body is temporary. Yes. And if you understand you're immortal, it doesn't mean you can whimsically go and kill people. Everything, any violence that we do must be justified or sanctioned by higher authority. So Arjuna should not therefore abandon his duty as a Kshatriya out of fear for his grandfather or teacher. So that is the point that Krishna wants him to understand. And Krishna is the best communicator, so he's, whatever he's explaining is actually spot on, particularly about the soul's eternality. So with knowledge, we can conclude actually that he has destroyed Arjuna's illusion about the soul and the body. Because once you have the proper knowledge, you will do the proper action. It's normal, right? Once you know something is wrong, you won't do it unless you're really, thick. Huh?
Out of mind.
Yeah. If someone tells you don't do this bad, then you still do it. It's two things. You are arrogant, you don't have understanding, or you don't have faith in that person. That's the only reason you want to do it. So proper knowledge will lead to proper action. So Krishna therefore attacked Arjuna's desire based on ignorance and to neglect his duty based on false compassion. So therefore he attacks him on that point. So in the next group of verses, 31 to 38, Krishna talks based on, he convinces Arjuna to fight, but it's based on Karma Kanda section. Convinces Arjuna to, he will not focus on knowledge anymore, but he'll focus on fruitive activity. Why one should do his fruitive activity and religious duty from section, verses 31 to 38. So therefore he again, you can say, attacks Arjuna's argument about why he doesn't want to fight. Or he gave another reason why he didn't want. So slowly one after the first is compassion, he cut that down based on spirit, soul and logic. So Krishna used dhyana to defeat that. Now he is going to talk about prescribed duty. So let's go to text 31. Swadharmam vapi chavekshya navikam pitum arhasi dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyat satriyasya navidyate. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. So now look, it's totally no more soul or body. So up to that point, it is understood that Arjuna now knows the difference between soul and body. So now, even if you have still doubts, so now Krishna is attacking the other section of doubts. So now he's saying, let's talk about what your duty is supposed to be. So he says, considering your specific duty as Kshatriya, that means you're supposed to uphold Dharma. You should know that there's no better engagement for you for Kshatriya. What are you supposed to do? Fight. So that is your, and why do you fight? On religious principles. So therefore, why are you hesitating again? So you can understand, the most intelligent person is Krishna. So he is, after hearing what Arjuna has to say, he acts, expertly addresses all his concerns. And so Arjuna is made to see very clearly that his thinking is not what Krishna wants him to think like that. So, when one does one's duty, then one gets all the benefits of doing one's duty. When one does one's duty, then he is not committing any sinful reaction. If you don't do your duty, then you will get sinful reaction. For example, if you're a father and then you neglect taking care of your family, then that is your duty, then you get the bad reaction for not taking care of the family members. Therefore, you should do your duty like that. So he's saying thing as Kshatriya, Krishna is saying you should do your duty. So, Kshatriya means, that's the word, Shat. Shat means, Prabhupada said, means to give pain or hurt them. Then Trayate means to give protection, shelter, Trayate. So Kshatriya means he will cause hurt if anyone goes against the principles. And in general, he is meant to protect the Varnashram, people in the Varnashram Dharma. That's his job. Protect the Dharma and protect the people from outside influence. Or if they are trying to change the philosophy and so on, he is also protecting the religious principles also. So he stands for all that. So that's a literal meaning based on the purport. Kshatriya means one who gives protection from harm. So you can be harmed by misuse of philosophy or religious principles. So he will come to stop. Or you can be harmed by somebody trying to hurt you. So he will come to protect you.
Is Krishna Kshatriya?
Is Krishna Kshatriya? Krishna has no varna actually.
No, at least in
at least here he took that position. But you can see in the battle he didn't really fight. But he is a king. He's a Kshatriya when he is in Dwaraka. He's a cowherd boy when he's in Vrindavan. Basically he has no varna. He can be any. And it's interesting because as Vaishnavas, we also are not in any of this varna. We can go and wash the toilet, right? Take a bath, go on the altar and do puja. So we can perform the duties of a Shudra, we can perform the duty of a Brahmana, and to protect if somebody is attacking, we will also stand to protect. So Vaishnava can do anything for the Lord.
So Krishna is the Vaishnava.
Krishna is our worshipable Lord. He represents why Krishna can do anything. So based on his protection, we also do everything to please him. In that sense. Vaishnava means the word comes from worshipping Vishnu. So it's a common, it's a standard term used in the Vedas for worshippers of Vishnu or Krishna, because Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna. So therefore, we can also say Vaishnavas means they can worship Krishna. So it's not a problem. Unless you can change it to make Krishna way, like that. So continuing, the duty of Kshatriya is to, what are some of the duties? Protect the citizen. What else? Protect the religious principles, or rule the world according to religious principles. Then he applies violence to maintain law and order. And then any kings who are against the proper dharma, he will go and fight with them. And generally Kshatriyas are not meant to take sannyas. No. Kshatriyas are not supposed to, but that's why Krishna is talking about his duty. Duty to fight, not go to the forest and take sannyas. And then finally, non-violence is not part of Kshatriya Dharma. It could be applied as a political move for diplomatic reasons, but it's not a principle of Kshatriya Dharma. Generally, you will find the Kshatriyas are trained, from very young they train in the art of warfare and so on. Many years ago, even in Jaipur, they were still doing it, the children from the kings. And they would go alone in the forest to kill wild animals like tigers and so on. But now those dharma is no more. So basically you can say you don't have that many Kshatriyas in this world. There may be a few people. In general, as someone was saying, in Kalo Shudra Sampraday, in general most of us are Shudra. Shudra means he needs a job to work, to maintain himself, like that. Or working for someone else.
Is an army Kshatriyas?
Yeah, but still, not like the traditional Kshatriyas. Now, like I said, the general will hide in the bunk and then send the troops. The real Kshatriyas go first. The general will go first to fight. Now they are scared, right? Now they are all fat and the belly is sticking out. That's not a real Kshatriya. Anyway, they are, to some extent, they have that nature. So you can say those army folks are like Kshatriya to a greater extent. And so they are trained to kill to protect religious principles, to uphold religious principles.
I think that is gone from equity, right? The police currently that's what they're protecting the society, but not from the
Not for religious, it's for capitalism.
Yeah, that is removed from the equity.
Yeah, they took it up. Yeah. That's why you find so much problems, right? Because when the society is not God-centered, it becomes self-centered. So when self-centered, then each of you have your own selfish desire. So therefore it can never be peace. When it's God-centered, then everybody tries to please that personality. So there's no challenge from each other, no fear from each other. That's the difference. So then, according to religious law books, Prabhupada wants to also highlight certain things. That if you go up towards the second last paragraph, Prabhupada says, therefore, killing on the battlefield on religious principles and killing animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence. Okay? So it is sanctioned. You can fight in the battlefield as a Kshatriya. So that's not violence. And if you sacrifice an animal, the Brahmanas, that is also not violence. Because both get better results after the sacrifice or the fight. The Kshatriyas will go to heavenly planet. And then the animal gets a higher birth or better birth. So that's how it is. Text 32. Yadrichaya chopapannam Swargadwaram apavritam Sukina Kshatriya Partha Labante Yuddham Nidrisham. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. So he's saying Kshatriya is happy to fight. Look at you, you're crying. Wake up and understand. And he says, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planet. So if the Kshatriya fights on the principle of religious principle, both Kshatriyas will go to heavenly kingdom. They go to heaven to enjoy. So he says, what loss is there? Arjuna, what loss is there? Why are you not wanting to fight? You don't seem to understand this principle. So fighting benefits both parties. Okay? And if he avoids the duty of Kshatriya, then he becomes infamous. People will say, what kind of Kshatriya he is? He's important, he's useless guy. So he becomes, or he will get hellish sinful reaction because he's not doing his duty. So he'll go to lower hellish practices. So we can see immediately what Krishna is saying for Kshatriya. If he does his duty, if he goes to war and if he is defeated or he is killed, he'll go to heavenly planet. So he gains. There's a win situation. And if he wins the battle, he still has a win situation. That's a win-win situation. It's not a win-lose situation. So then, Srila Prabhupada in the purport wants to explain to us about Swadharma. There's two kinds of duties. One is material duty, one is spiritual duty. So as long as we are not liberated, right? We are still in the material body and material conditioning, family, all this. As long as we are still in this material consciousness, then we have to follow the rules for a material life. That means our duties, our prescribed duties. We still have to do that. But when you are liberated, then actually your duty is for pleasing Krishna. But externally you still do the prescribed duties for all intent and purposes. Externally everyone looks at you, you're still doing your duty. But internally you are always thinking about Krishna. So that is the difference between one's material duty and spiritual duty. So when one becomes spiritualized, his main duty is to please Krishna. So in our, how does it apply for all of us? Is that when you understand that actually the goal is to please Krishna, then you, from whatever duty you're doing, you try to focus everything to please Krishna. Like you raise your children, before you will be raising for them to have a good life. But now you raise them to be a good devotee, servant of Krishna. So the focus has changed to pleasing Krishna. Of course you don't tell them don't study, just stay at home and do puja. No, because that's meaningless in society. You tell them study hard and get a good job, but you encourage them at the same time to focus and pray to Krishna.
Guruji, coming to Kshatriyas,
Yeah.
so the soldiers, they are also Kshatriyas. Right?
Yes.
So what happened to all those Kshatriyas that fought from the Kaurava side? Like they were on the side of Adharma, right? They get heaven.
All of them got liberated. As long as they died in front of Krishna, they all got liberated. Yeah. And those who were demoniac, very against Krishna, because even on Kaurava's side, there were people who were favorable to the Pandavas. But due to circumstances, they had to fight on the other side. So those demonic people, they didn't go to the spiritual world, some of them. No, he went to spiritual, because he died in front of Krishna.
So the sinners, they are also liberated.
Yes, that's the blessing by the Lord. But some of them took birth in Brahmin family in the next life in Kali Yuga. And because they were demoniac in nature, many of them destroyed the Brahminical culture to some extent. But those who died in front of Krishna or saw Krishna's face when they died, they were liberated.
Just to clarify, so does that mean that when you are completely in Krishna consciousness, dedicating everything to Krishna, you are then in a way liberated already?
Yes. Yes. Well, even now, let's say if I tell you, okay, go and do this service and so on, as long as you are sincerely doing it, you are liberated. The moment you think that you are doing it, then you are back to the material realm. So that's it's very, like I said, it's like a razor's edge. You make the wrong mistake, you cut.
You could be switching back and forth.
Oh, we are all,
the time.
no, I think most of the time we are Maya. Sometimes you are thinking purely for Krishna's sake. So the idea is to shift that being in Maya more to being in Krishna more. That's the whole idea that Krishna is putting, trusting forward to Arjuna, to tell him, ultimately you say you can do all this but do it for me. So that is the main thing. You do it for me, then you are protected from all these other things.
So you always think that you are doing for Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna or his devotees. Like for example, you go, let's say some sannyasi comes here and tells you to go and get this from the market, buy this, it's very important, we have to cook for the ladies. So you have to go through so much hassle, talk to this person, that. But the main thing in your mind is, I have to buy it for Krishna because it's a special dish they are cooking for Krishna. If you think like that, then it's transcendental. But if you're thinking, why this Maharaj has to ask me to go, he can't get somebody else, why I have to go? And then you purchase begrudgingly, then it is not so much transcendental. You get some benefit, but you don't get the full benefit. Yeah. It's more your consciousness. You did some devotional service, but you didn't do pure devotional service. Understand? So that's the difference between devotional service and pure devotional service. As long as you follow the instructions without worrying about anything nicely. Now if the devotee says, go and kill somebody, then you can say no. But the devotee says, just do this for Krishna, then okay, you do.
So it's not like doing stuff just for a sense of duty, but it's duty combined with devotion.
Yes, duty to please Krishna and his devotees.
Okay, it's my duty, I have to do that, but then
Yeah.
work that way.
Yeah. Krishna doesn't mean just Krishna. That's the other problem many of you have. Krishna means Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Krishna means his avatars. Krishna means his paraphernalia. Krishna means his devotees also. So when you serve Krishna, it includes all of this. That's why the definition of pure devotional service, Anyabhilashitashu, Jnana Karmadi, Anavatam, Anukullena Krishna, Shilanu Bhakti Uttama. So Anukullena, all Krishna, when you are serving Krishna, it includes everything that is connected to Krishna. So therefore it says Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. So by how you get detached? By connecting everything to Krishna. Then Yuktam Vairagyam Uchate. Then you are doing Vairagya, real Vairagya. Otherwise it is Falgu Vairagya. Okay, so these are very important things, basic points. Unless you can cultivate this thing now, you will condition yourself thinking you are pure devotee. And then you think you know better than everybody else. So we don't want that. That's why you have to take the humble position. That's the safest point. It's best to be the servant, actually. Because anything goes wrong, people will go after the boss guy, right? You just act as servant.
Very safe.
Well, it is the safest position when you are the servant. It's not that you're playing servant. You take the position, I will serve you. You tell me what you want for Krishna, I will do. But everybody in this material want to be the controller, but they don't understand the consequences of the controlling nature. You will make mistake, then 10 million people will say you are the rascal. But if you are a servant, they will ask you, say, I'm just following instructions. Okay, who's the fella? They go after, right? So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Dasa, Dasa, Anudasa. Always be a servant.
But how about the pride in serving the Lord?
How
about the pride in serving Lord Krishna?
Pride in serving?
Like I'm serving him.
Yeah, so you have to, you see, if you want to go back with Krishna, then you also have to be honest with yourself. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't, then Krishna will teach you a lesson to bring your pride down. He'll put you in a very funny situation, embarrassing situation, and then he'll try to tell you, you're too proud, that's why you're in this situation. And if you still don't learn, then kaputs, then a big problem you will face in your life. Yeah. So Krishna is like that. He is kind, he'll help you. One day he'll say, this guy, I've been helping him so much, he don't listen. So give you a big kick, waking up kick. So it's like that. Alright, so that Swadharma, duties according to particular body, particular time. So when we do our duties properly, then it's called, then we are human beings. When we take up religious principles, when we do it for the benefit of society, then we are acting as a human being. When we are selfish and so on, then it's no different from an animal, right? You see sometimes you see outside the birds, they will fight for the food, each one fighting. Then they don't say, okay, everyone come, we'll share equally. You don't see that, right? So yeah, you don't see that happening. Even cats, dogs, they all will fight territory and so on. We are not like that. We are not meant to live like that.
Still we do that.
We do that because we are not in ignorance, or we are conditioned to thinking I am the doer. So now this study of Bhagavad Gita should give you the first footsteps to understanding what you should be like. And then from that platform, you should aim to serve purely Krishna. Now, I can't force you all to be pure. You have to strive yourself. That's why I emphasize it. It's self-realization. I can highlight certain things, so you think, wow, that I didn't know that, now I know. What am I going to do about it? So that's the intent of Srila Prabhupada, actually. That's his affection for all of us, his compassion. So he's giving us all this. We need to use this information. If you don't, then you suffer, we all suffer. So don't waste this opportunity. Do your best. But if Prabhupada was selfish, then he wouldn't have called it International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He would have called it for his own consciousness, right? He wouldn't have called it Krishna, Hare Krishna movement. He wouldn't have said, he would have said Prabhupada movement. Right? No, he didn't do all that. And in this Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, he hardly praises himself. In fact, he doesn't. Only one time in the Bhagavad Gita he says, we were fortunate to take birth in a Vaishnava family. He's so humble, he doesn't even think. Everything he praises is Krishna and his devotees. So like that. So we learn, we see this and we say, wow, this is how our Acharya is. So I should also follow in his footsteps. That I shouldn't be proud of my work and so on. What service Krishna gave is coming from Guru and Krishna. It's not that I can do this on my own. They gave me the opportunity to do. So I am doing it under their blessings. And whatever success it is because they are helping me. If I were to do on my own, I will be unsuccessful. So that is the right move. It's a tough one, but it's something all of us have to sit and contemplate and work on that. Okay. All right. So if you follow an authority, you will make advancement quickly. Okay. If you don't follow authority and try to do on your own, the advancement is checked. But if you follow authority, your advancement is quick. Because Krishna says, okay, this guy is a good person, he's listening and all. So you get the advancement. Atha chetvam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tatha swadharmam kritim cha Ditva papam avapsyasi. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. So, he is a famous fighter, right? Arjuna has fought so many, he's even fought Lord Shiva and all. So now he is just, because he sees his grandfather, he doesn't want to fight. So he says you will become infamous. People will laugh at you when they look at you. Text 34. Akirtim chapi bhutani kata yishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya cha kirtir marana adirichyate. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Right? If somebody talks bad about you, then you feel more hurt than if they come and stab you or something. When they stab you, that wound can heal and so on. But if they say something bad about you or talk about you, it will always be hurting you. For whole life you'll be thinking, oh, he said this to me. So therefore he says, why you want to, you're a respectable person. So if people say something bad about you, you're going to be unhappy all your life. So you shouldn't give the people the opportunity to find fault with you. So you should do your duty, basically, he's saying. Text 35. Vayadranat uparatam Mamsyante tvam maharata Yesham cha tvam bahumato Bhutva yasyasi lagavam. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only. And thus he will consider you, and they will consider you insignificant. See how Krishna is attacking his ego? In the Prabhupada says, Lord Krishna continued to give his verdict to Arjuna. Do not think that the great generals like Duryodhana, Karna and other contemporaries will think that you have left the battlefield out of compassion for your brothers and grandfather. They will think that you have left out of fear for your life. And thus their high estimation of your personality will go to hell. So he is such a famous Kshatriya. Because of that, the loss of his reputation and others' esteem will be more powerful, painful for him than their arrows. That's what Krishna is saying. And they will talk many bad things about Arjuna. 36. Avachyavadamscha bahum vadisyanti tavahitaha Nindantashtava samaratyam Tato dhukataram lukim. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? He wanted to be compassionate. Now Krishna is saying, you be compassionate, this is what they will tell you. Behind text 37. Ato va prapsyasi swargam Jitva va bhoksyase mahim Tasma tista kampaya Uddhaya gita nischaya. So son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. So, see, you can see Krishna is not messing around with you. See, you fight, boy. Don't give me all these excuses. So you can see how well he puts his argument, and then he is inviting him to, like I said, it's a win-win situation. So he shouldn't have gone into this situation. Anyway, we have talked about the same thing, so I'm not going to go to the text study. Sukha dukhe same kritva Lava labo jaya jayo Tato yudhaya yujyasva Naivam papam avapsyasi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. Okay? So now he directly tells him, you don't fight for any of these reasons. You fight for me. That's what he's saying. Krishna is saying. Because Arjuna is afraid of also sinful reaction. And so Krishna directly tells him, you fight because I want you to fight. That's my desire. So please do thou fight for the sake of fighting. So for the sake of Krishna we do many things. So in Arjuna's case, as a Kshatriya, Krishna wants him to fight. So he should fight for the sake of Krishna's desire. So that's one of the key points here. Everything we do in our life should be for the sake of Krishna or his devotees, that's all. Of course you have your own family duties and so on, but that shouldn't take your entire life, you know. For example, if you can buy a house with a roof and nice facilities, why would you want to work 2 or 3 jobs to get a bungalow in the middle of the desert? Huh? Why would you want to spend so much time working so hard, right? His point is, just do the needful and the rest of the time you have, you give to Krishna. Yeah. Then your house, you make it as a place of pilgrimage. That means you invite devotees, you feed prasadam, like that, have kirtan, call Maharajas, sannyasis, give, purify them. That is the role of a Dasa. Not covet the place, oh I have such a big house, look at how good I am, you know, I have a BMW, I have this, I have that. And what is the point? When you die, all your relatives will come and pick the BMW apart. That's what will happen. So we can't think like that. We should not think like that. We should think, oh, how much more time I can give to Krishna, not waste my time chasing after some paper thing or whatever. So many things we can desire. Our desires can never be fulfilled. You know? Just like you buy a car, okay, BMW is famous, so you buy a BMW. Then 6 months later they release a special edition, which is only 20,000 points. You say, man, I can get that. Why I buy now? So maybe I'll negotiate with the company again. Then you negotiate, then you have to spend more money. Then after that, another 6 months they come out with a special edition. This is what will happen. This is how the world is. And then where is it going to end? No. So an intelligent person knows, I only need to get from point A to point B. So whichever car that will take me from point A, that's all I need. That's good intelligence. Material intelligence is, I want the best. Oh, okay, it's good to have the best, but where do you draw the line? So you have to be very practical in lifestyle also. Similarly, you know, if you purchase a nice sofa, then the sofa must give you, what is the chair for? To give you good support. But nowadays they don't make chairs to give you support. Right? All the furniture, you say, they want you to sleep in it. So then they spend how much? When we were buying for the sannyasi quarters, we were looking, some of these 15,000, 20,000, and I'm like, what is this? This is not even a chair. this is how I can understand from that how people are buying all these things. And when we finally found a chair that gives support and all, it's very cheap. So people are not into practical solutions anymore. And it's just extravaganza. Huh? Just to show, oh look at my furniture, you can sleep in it. Oh yeah, good. So this is what's happening everywhere in the world. Capitalism in the wrong, applied in the wrong way. So everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna. We shouldn't think, oh, if I do this for Krishna, it will make me unhappy. Or if I work with this Prabhu or this Mataji, I'm not happy, all this thing. No, you're doing it for Krishna. You're not doing it for, huh?
Right.
Yeah, you're doing it for Krishna. It's not, oh, I did that, Prabhu, no, it's all contamination. And then you're not doing it because you will be praised in front of hundreds of devotees in congregation. No, you're not doing that. Now, if people praise you, so be it. If they don't praise you, so be it. Yeah, main thing is, have we made it nice for Krishna festival? Is he happy? I hope he is happy. So when you prepare and you make prasad, cook bhoga for Krishna, you should be worried, will Krishna like it or not? The consciousness always has to be trained, because our mind is always disturbing. It is one of the worst enemies we have. So we have to keep training, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, before you go to bed, you take the slippers and hit your head 100 times. Then when you wake up next morning, take the broomstick and hit your head again 100 times. Because the mind is like that. So then when you hit, you ask, why am I hitting? Well, I'm a fool. I can't do for Krishna. So these are lessons from Acharyas we have to appreciate what they are trying to say. So if you act for your own sense gratification, even if it's in goodness or in passion, then you are going to get some karma in goodness or passion also. There will always be reaction. But if you do things for Krishna, to please him, then there's no karma. There's no karma bandha. You are not held in this material. So that is the secret to getting out of this world. Doing things for Krishna, then there's no karma. It's only Krishna karma, which means liberating. But if you do things for yourself all the time, then too bad. Now of course, if you are sick, you have to go to hospital, you cannot say, oh, I have to worry about Krishna. That is also nonsense. If you are sick, how can you serve Krishna? Yeah?
By keeping him in his thoughts.
Yeah, so yeah, but you cannot serve, right? If you have a service to do, if you become sick, then you can't do the service. So you have to make sure your health is also good. So if you are sick, yeah, go and see a doctor and get the medicine. Don't be like, oh, I don't take all these antibiotics, I don't take this medicine because they are not good for me, and then you're sick for 1 week because it takes that long to recover. And then 1 week of service is gone. So one has to be very practical also. We have to think carefully also. And if you do service for Krishna, then there is no obligation, as we said earlier, to all the demigods, sages, and all people connected to your life. So when we do for Krishna, it is beyond mundane activities. Any activities related to Krishna is pure and beyond mundane. Text 39. So this is the Dasanke Buddhi Yogi tu Imam Shino Buddhayukto Yayapata Karmavandam Prahasyasi. Thus far I have described this knowledge to you through an analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of words. So your consciousness determines the bondage. Okay? If your consciousness is for the self, then you are bound. But if the consciousness is for the Supreme Lord, then there is no binding.
There shouldn't be any expectations, right? That's what frees you up from the pain, detachment. But still you are saying that you are trying to please the Lord. So that means there is some expectation, right? And then you will keep constantly.
When it is connected to Krishna, then there is no reaction of anything.
Yeah, you don't get any reaction,
Yes.
but you always worry whether you please God enough.
That is good worry. That worry is positive. Yeah. So that is acceptable. It's better to worry if I please Krishna than to not worry about anything.
So,
Yeah, so that means you are still thinking about Krishna. Yeah. That consciousness is more superior than to think, oh, then you are only on the liberated platform. You are not on the Krishna's platform. So one who's liberated means Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, right? He has gone beyond the modes affecting him. Therefore there's no reaction for him. But he's not necessarily connecting to Krishna. Not necessarily. So there are transcendentalists like that also. They refrain from doing anything that will bind them. So we are not talking about that. We are talking about for Krishna always. So the activities Krishna wants Arjuna to do is from the platform of a spirit soul. So you act on the spirit soul. What is the spirit soul supposed to do? Serve Krishna. So if you do all this duty thinking you are the spirit soul working on behalf of Krishna, then you have no more bondage. That is the knowledge he wants Arjuna to understand. Okay? So in text 11 to 30, as again just to recap, Krishna described jnana, knowledge, which is to show the difference between spirit and matter or soul and body. So he used that. Now, Jnana Yoga is basically the same as those of Sankhya Yoga, the analytical study of matter and spirit. In either case, one must renounce activities to practice meditation. Okay? But Krishna has consistently told Arjuna in another way. He has told him not to work in the spirit of renunciation, but still continue working. Generally, most people will renounce everything. So Krishna says, no, that's not what I want you to do. I want you to renounce, not renounce the activity, but work in a renounced spirit. Okay? That's what he wants Arjuna. That means you're not expecting any results. That is renounced spirit. I'm doing it because Krishna wants me to do it, but I'm not doing it because I'm expecting something from Krishna.
there's a duty.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can say duty in that sense. But sometimes, again, people will be attached to the duty. This is my duty, but they're not thinking about Krishna. Yeah. So there's like subtle differences. Like Bhishma is attached to his duty for protecting the throne, but he's not seeing the whole picture of what Krishna wants. What should be the right thing to do.
Without devotion.
Yeah, exactly. There was no devotion. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Arjuna has already accepted Krishna as his spiritual master by surrendering himself onto him. Sishyaste aham sadi mam tvam prapannam. Consequently, Krishna will now tell him about the working process in Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga. Or in other words, the practice of devotional service only for the sense gratification of the Lord. This Buddhi Yoga is clearly explained in chapter 10, verse 10, as being direct communion with the Lord who is sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart. But such communion does not take place without devotional service. One is therefore situated in devotional or transcendental loving service of the Lord, or in other words, in Krishna consciousness, attains to this stage of Buddhi Yoga by the special grace of the Lord. The Lord says, therefore, that only to those who always engage in devotion service, out of transcendental love, does he award the pure knowledge of devotion in love. In that way, the devotee can reach him easily in the ever blissful kingdom of God. Kesam satato yuktanam vajatam vritti purvakam dadani buddhi yogantam yena mam upayanti. I give you the knowledge how to come to me, provided you do devotional service. See? Yeah, there's some condition by Krishna, but it's for our benefit. It's not for Krishna's benefit. He doesn't need us. We need him, exactly. Because to exist in this material world, everything is supplied by Krishna. Therefore, we always need him. So that's his kindness to us. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions the topmost activities you can do in Buddhi Yoga. When Krishna blesses the devotee and inspires with full Buddhi, Buddhi Yogam, Yena Mam Upayanti, and thus he will easily come to Krishna. So when you do your service, in the beginning there may be difficulties because of your conditioning. You're used to not doing certain things and you don't want to do it, don't want to get up in the morning and so on. But because you do it as a matter of duty in the beginning, and later on you do it because you want to please Krishna. And then Krishna will be pleased with you. Then he gives you more intelligence to make more, you will do things more and more for pleasing Krishna. That is the intelligence he will give you. You will adjust your lifestyle. No, I will do this first, then I will do other things like that. You will adjust. Finally, until your life, you are only thinking about, is Krishna okay? Is Radha Madhava Hari is okay or not? Before even you die, you are always worried about his service. That is what Prabhupada is telling us, to come to that stage. Dehavikrama sosti pratyabhajana vidyate svalpam abhyasya dharmasya trayate mahato vaya. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Basically, if you do Buddhi Yoga, which is Krishna conscious devotion, basically. Krishna says there is no loss or diminution in this endeavor. And it will protect you from the most dangerous fear. What is the most dangerous fear? Death. Everyone is afraid to die. But if you do this daily, you will not have any problems giving up the body. Why we are afraid of death? Because we are attached to the body. But when you continuously do service, we become detached from our material body. We are acting on the platform of spirit, not on the bodily platform. So the highest transcendental quality of work, according to Srila Prabhupada, is that activity that is done for the benefit of Krishna without any expectation of my sense gratification. Okay. That's the highest. So even when you dress the deities, you are not thinking, oh, people will say I am a good dresser. No, that is wrong. You should never think. You just dress because it makes Krishna attractive for the people. Actually, Krishna is always attractive. You can't make him more attractive. You're just dressing him, that's all. And that's the point. So, and the second portion Krishna is saying is, this every service you do, Salpam api asya. Salpa means even little. If you really truly, faithfully, sincerely do little service for Krishna, it will protect you even at the time of death. Krishna will say, I remember that person, he or she did so nice service. I will protect them at this moment. He may even take you back to Godhead because that small service really pleased him. Maybe, but I don't know. It's a possibility. And we can know about the story of Ajamil. You've heard the story of Ajamil, right? Well, it's a long story, but I'll cut it short. He was a Brahmana boy, but one day he was walking in the forest to get some firewood, and then along the way he saw two people having sex. Then he saw the woman's face. So then that image was in his mind. He was a young man. So when he came home, then that image, he said, no, I shouldn't think about this. So he started doing all the right things, meditating properly. And he was married to a very good-looking wife also, but this image of the woman kept coming back for some reason. So finally, it was overwhelming. So because if you keep thinking of the bad thing, you will do something about it. So he went to that lady. She was a prostitute, and then he started having relation with her. And consequently, over a few years, he abandoned his family members, his mother, his wife, his father, everything. And then he started living with her, having a family. So then he had many children. And he was doing all kinds of nonsense to please her. From a Brahmana, he became a debauchee, totally. So he would kill people and so on, just to please the woman. So finally, at the age of 80 something, and he had a 5-year-old son. Yeah, that's how bad it was. He was dying. So the dead bed, as he was dying, he had his youngest son. He gave one thing good in Vedic cultures: you name the children with God-conscious names. So his youngest son's name was Narayan. So then, when he was dying, the servants of death came with dogs and chains, and then he's coming around the house. Then he started to panic. So in that moment, about to die, he saw this, he got panicked, he called for his son, Narayana. So he said Narayana. So when he said Narayana, immediately from the spiritual world, the servants of Vishnu came. So then the servants of Yamaraj were about to tie him up. They came and said, stop. They say, why? Well, he's pure. Then they started reading all his sin. Look, he has done all these things. They said, no. Because as far as our record shows, he is already purified. And they could not understand why. They said, well, he chanted the name of Narayan as he was dying. And therefore, by simply chanting the name of Narayan once, he has purified all the sins he can commit. More than he can commit, that name can solve.
That sends a wrong message also.
Yeah, but then you know where you stand. So he's dying at that time, he chanted. The reason why it purified him is because even though he did all the wrong things, he was never offensive. You understand? His mood was never offensive to the Brahmana or to people, but he lived a horrible life. Yeah. So that's the difference.
But he left his family.
Yeah, he left them alone, but he was never offensive to the Vaishnavas or people like that. Yeah, that is sinful to leave your family and so on. But he was not offensive to the Vaishnavas and so on. So you can see the effect. So when he chanted Narayana, thinking of his son, even though he was thinking of his son, he chanted the holy name at the time of death. That message went to Narayan himself. And so the Vishnu Dutas came. And then they stopped the Yamadutas. And say, you cannot take it because he has purified. He has actually cancelled his sinful reaction. So then he was hearing the conversation, and then the Yamadutas were very unhappy, they left. They went to complain to Yamaraj. So Yamaraj told them, no, actually, you cannot go near Vaishnava. Even if it's sinful, if they are still properly situated, you cannot go. Yeah. So this discussion is there in the Bhagavatam. It's a very interesting discussion. It doesn't give a license to commit sin knowingly. Ajamil didn't do it knowingly, that he will go back to Godhead or anything like that. You understand now? So he wasn't offensive. So then the Vishnu Dutas looked at him, but they didn't take him to Vaikuntha. They said, you need to still purify. So then he went to Haridwar and he meditated on the Lord for a few more years or months, and then he gave up his body. Then he went to, then they came back again to take him back away. So the power of the Lord is very amazing. That is the thing behind this pastime. So all he had to do was remember a little thing from his previous life where he was serving, chanting and blah blah. So because he did all those nice things before he became a fallen person, that protected him at the time of death. But if you give up Krishna consciousness now and go and do nonsense after knowing this story, you're not going to get a free ticket. We have to strive. We are not Ajamil. Ajamil is actually a very special person. The pastime he went through is for our sake, to learn something. All these personalities in the Bhagavatam all are special characters, who are very beloved by the Lord. And they take their position as a fallen person, simple person.
So, you cannot lie to two people.
Yeah.
Yourself and God.
Yes.
So,
No, you can even lie to yourself, actually. Some people convince themselves so much that, yeah, they are right.
but at least God cannot.
Yes, he cannot.
He cannot pretend that you're doing something.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's why Swalpam apiyasya dharmasya. And the greatest danger is when you are dying and you can go down to lower species of life. That is the greatest danger. Losing, giving up the human form of life. So when we do Krishna conscious activities, you will be at least guaranteed of a human life next life. At least you do favorably. But don't be happy because human life it's not easy life. So try to go back in this life.
So that means elder is don't be always have to work to liberate from your life.
Always you have to work to liberate.
Hard to liberate yourself from the human life. That's what it is.
Yeah. Because we become very attached to this life. It's like you can see how attached people are. I'm not trying to say anything bad about anybody. Sometimes people, even when they don't look good, right, in terms of features, and when they look at themselves in the mirror, they think they are good looking. It's like that. We are all conditioned. That's my point. Whatever birth you take, you think that is the greatest position. And we become attached to it. So we need to give up those things, attachment to that kind of situation. Alright, text 40.
Prabhuji, as a human being only we can liberate, right?
Yeah.
Other living in.
No, other living beings on their own they can't, but pure devotee can liberate them. Okay? Like for example, if you become pure devotee, then you can go chanting and then by hearing simply or chanting, the other living entities can. There's a pastime where Ramanujacharya had his servants and they used to travel. So one time they were walking past this pond. So Ramanujacharya was eating some prasad. Then he took a little bit, he saw the fish in the thing and he threw. So the fish quickly ate because fish will eat whatever is thrown. So he's so powerful, he gave his disciples the vision to see what's happening. So immediately all the fishes left their body and started going up with 4 hands to Vaikuntha. So the disciples were shocked, they came running. How is it that we've been eating your Mahaprasad, we are not going back? And this fishes are, and then he said the reason is you all are always thinking about nonsense and so on. The fish is not committing any of these offenses and so on. So you can understand, it's amazing. Potency of Acharyas are very powerful. We have to, in a humble sense, we will take the remnants and happy that we got the remnants. Yeah, then the effect is more potent. But if we totally, okay, Mahaprasad, then the effect is not so potent. Even though it can affect in the future, but at the present moment it will hold the mercy until you realize, then you give the mercy. So it's all very personal. You have to be so personal with devotion itself, with Krishna, with the Mahaprasad and everything. So we can't take the practice for granted. Even though it's easy just to chant, still it's the most difficult because we have to fight with the big guru here, stuck here. Alright, text 41. Alright, text 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhi Ekeha Guru Nandana Bahu Sakahi Anantascha Buddhayo Vyavayasainam. This is a famous verse. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So if you are focused on Krishna consciousness, then your aim is one. But if you are not focused on Krishna, then you focus on material things, so many things will come in your mind. So then your determination is not one-pointed. You cannot focus anything. It's too many things. Need this, that, that. So Prabhupada writes, strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika intelligence or buddhi. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it says Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudrida Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Khaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family, traditions, humanity or nationality. Fruitive activities are the engagements of one's reactions from past, good or bad deeds. When one is awaiting Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. Okay? Because what? When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good or bad. Okay, that's the difference. If you do for Krishna, it is always good. So you can see Krishna, when he steals butter, he's stealing, it's still good. But when you steal, you're a thief. So there's a difference between Krishna and us. So therefore we have to follow certain rules and regulations. So in devotion one has to be fixed. And then when you are focused, then your aim is just one, to please Krishna. But if you have too many things, materially there's always so many things coming, then how can you focus on anything? So Krishna says you cannot focus if you have too many things in your mind, Arjuna. So therefore your intelligence becomes unfocused. You cannot do it properly. So Vyavasayatmika buddhi, one-pointed intelligence, is required for success, for all of us. Before Krishna consciousness came to the West, Srila Prabhupada read this same verse in the 50s. And he read a commentary by Srila Vishwanath, who wrote this commentary on this verse. And when he read that, he was so struck by it that he fixed it and he said he will follow his Guru Maharaj in order to preach Krishna in the West. So I'll read what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote. This is what he wrote about this verse of all kinds, you don't have it in your book, so just listen. Of all kinds of intelligence, the best is intelligence focused on Bhakti Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga, one's intelligence becomes single-pointed of fixed determination. One thinks, the instructions of my spiritual master to worship the personality of Godhead by chanting, remembering, serving his feet and so on are my only sadhana, my only sadhya, my only livelihood. I am incapable of giving up these instructions either in the stage of practice or in the stage of perfection. They alone are my object of desire and my only responsibility. Besides them, I can desire no other responsibility, not even in my dreams. It is all the same to me whether I feel happy or unhappy, or whether my material existence is eradicated or not. Okay? This is one point of this. So the Guru's instruction becomes very important. This is actually what Bhakti is all about. Focus in pleasing Krishna. Now we 42 and 43. Yamimam pushpitam vacham Ravadanti avipashita Vedavadarata pata Nanyantastiti vadina Kamanmana swargapara Janma karma palapadam Kriya vishesha bahulam Bhogaishvarya gatim prati. Men of small knowledge, that is not very intelligent, are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. So a lot of people read do yajna, all the karma kanda thing, because they only want their senses to enjoy, that's all. But then Krishna here is saying they are not very intelligent, because the goal of life is to go back to the spiritual world, not keep coming back. If you do this karma kanda thing, you have to keep taking birth again and again. So he didn't think it was good. So what it means is karma kanda is a less intelligent path. It will elevate you slowly, very slowly. Life, millions and millions of life slowly will come. But there's no guarantee of going back to God. You can elevate to more of goodness, sattva guna, but not necessarily Suddha sattva. Okay? Suddha sattva means transcendental goodness. So when we look at these Vedas where it says, oh, when you do this yajna, you get this, a lot of people do that. Even after coming to Krishna consciousness, a lot of people still go and do all these things. Because their faith is not strong. Their saitmika buddhi is not there. Their buddhi is bahusaka. So bahusaka anantascha, too many branches. Therefore, their determination to worship Krishna is not there. Because they are putting too much the value on other things as well. Krishna only wants you to focus on him. Don't worry about it. As soon as you think about, oh, I will have Krishna and I'll have the demigods, so finish. Doesn't work. So one has to give everything to Krishna, and then Krishna will take care of us. A lot of people, they think of, oh, I can do this yajna, I can drink the somaras and become, happy and all that. So those things are not applicable for us. It is as Prabhupada says, Krishna says, a less intelligent path. Or fools getting attached to the poisonous flowers of a tree. Oh, look at this flower, so nice. Right, so then the next verse is 44, is very important, because it gives you an idea of why it's difficult for people to sometimes practice Krishna consciousness.